Have you ever had that feeling in a relationship? You know, that deep, confusing push and pull, where one part of you desperately wants to hold on tight, but another part is just screaming for some space? It feels like a constant battle, right? Well, today we're going to get to the very heart of why that happens. We're going to look at the architecture of our attachments. So let's just start with something I think we can all relate to. A story, really, about two very powerful and often competing needs that show up in so many of our relationships. On one side, there's this deep internal plea, please, just don't leave me. It comes from a real fear of being abandoned. But on the other side, there's an equally strong feeling, please, don't overwhelm me. This one's all about needing space. And these two feelings, man, they are often at the absolute core of our struggles. Now, it is so easy to just write this off as drama, right? Or just chalk it up to a bad attitude. But what if it's something way, way deeper than that? What if these reactions aren't really choices at all, but like echoes of things we learned a long, long time ago? Because here's the thing. It's not drama. It's not attitude. It's attachment. And that one word, it changes everything. It moves us from a place of blaming each other to actually understanding the fundamental wiring of how we connect. So to really get a handle on this, we kind of have to go back to the beginning. Let's dig into the roots of our attachment styles and see where we first learned about things like love and safety. First up, we've got what's called anxious attachment. This tends to happen when somewhere in our past, love and affection felt, well, inconsistent. Like closeness was there one minute and then it was gone the next. So we learned pretty early on that connection is fragile and it could just vanish. So how does that show up today? Oh, it's overthinking every single text message. It's feeling that jolt of panic when your partner just needs a little bit of distance. It's needing that constant reassurance just to feel like everything's okay. Yep, that's anxious attachment in action. Now, on the complete other side of the coin, we have avoidant attachment. This can happen when we learn that relying on other people is just kind of risky, or that having needs just leads to being let down. So emotions, especially someone else's big emotions, start to feel less like a connection and more like pressure. And this looks like being fiercely protective of your personal space and independence. When stress hits, the instinct isn't to lean in, it's to pull away and figure it out on your own. And the wild part is, too much closeness can actually feel more threatening than comforting. So what happens when these two very different ways of seeing the world end up in a relationship together? Well, this is where that painful cycle of misunderstanding really kicks in. It's like this dance where each person is just trying to feel safe, but they accidentally keep stepping on the other person's deepest fears. The person with the more anxious style feels their partner starting to pull back, and immediately all their internal alarms go off. They'll ask, why are you being so distant? But what they're really saying is, I'm terrified you're leaving me. Please, come closer. And of course, in response to that pursuit, the person with the avoidance style just feels completely overwhelmed. They're thinking, why is nothing I do ever enough for you? But what they're trying to communicate is, I'm feeling so much pressure, and I really need some space to feel safe again. And just like that, love can start to feel like a war zone. But hold on, there's a secret here that can change absolutely everything. This whole conflict, it isn't just about feelings or poor communication. It's actually about biology. It's about our nervous systems. And this brings us to the question we always ask ourselves in these moments, doesn't it? Who is the problem here? Is it the person who needs too much or the one who gives too little? Who's the one who needs to change? The answer is so simple, but it's really profound. Neither of you. The whole idea that one person is the problem is just completely missing what's actually happening underneath it all. And this, right here, is the key. Relationships are not just two people having a conversation. They are two nervous systems, each with its own programming, each desperately just trying to feel safe. It's just that for one nervous system, safety feels like closeness, and for the other, safety feels like space. So if your partner isn't the problem, what's the solution? Well, it's not about trying to fix them, and it's definitely not about winning the argument. The real path forward is actually a journey inward, into understanding your own internal world first. The process is pretty simple, but it is so powerful. First, you have to look inward. Second, you approach your partner with genuine curiosity, non-accusation. And finally, and this is the big one, you have to talk and explain what's going on inside you. So step one is all about pausing when you feel that trigger. Instead of reacting, you just ask yourself kindly, okay, why do I feel this way? Why am I reacting like this? What am I really afraid of in this exact moment? Then you take that same curiosity and you turn it outward. You start to wonder, why might my partner feel the way they do? Why might they be acting this way? And again, this isn't about making excuses for them. It's about building a bridge of understanding instead of another wall of blame. When you start doing this, you start moving toward the ultimate goal. And it isn't about winning or even really about agreeing on everything. It's about getting to a place that's so much more important for both of your nervous systems. The bravest and most important step is to explain your inner world. To actually say, when you pull away, I feel really abandoned and scared. Or when you ask for more reassurance, I feel overwhelmed, like I'm failing you. You see, that kind of clarity, that is what finally creates safety for both of you. We spend so much of our energy trying to figure other people out. But the biggest shift, the most profound change, happens when we finally turn that curiosity back on ourselves. When we stop and start by asking, what's happening inside me? That's when we can finally start to build the bridge to the safety we're both looking for.